Can the Law Orden Velvet Snake wow me? We're going to find out in today's episode where we're going to review this puppy. Let's do it. So some stats on this thing. By the way, it's called the Law Orden Serpiente de Terciopello, which basically is the velvet snake. And I want to thank Mike, by the way, over at Law Orden for sending me these. Absolutely love it. Thank you so much. So basically, this one has an Ecuadorian wrapper. It has Mexican binder and Nicaraguan and Dominican filler. For what we do, oh, there's my dog. Having a good time. So what we do on here is to review these, we're going to go ahead and do four things. We're going to look at the flavor, we're going to look at construction, the strength match, and also we're going to look at the value. And I grade this out of 100 points. So as always, right, start with the flavor. I think right off the bat, spice is definitely forward with this. Forward in your front of your mouth, right? And there's earthy cocoa. I like on the retrohale getting something from, you know, that like actual flavor push. And something that I find with smaller boutique brands is oftentimes that's chaotic. But this one up front, it's got a very definable flavor to it, which is nice. Like I said, it's got the spice forward, earthy flavor, and there is a teeny bit of sweetness, which is nice because it balances that spice, but it's not overwhelming like the Añejo, right, from Arturo Fuente is so just pow right in your face. This one definitely kind of lives up, I think, to that name of Velvet Snake. So right off that, just in this first couple of draws, it is definitely a good smoke so far. So just a quick backstory about this. Law Orden is a boutique brand, and put this together. It's kind of cool because it's named after a pit viper, right? And basically it stands for the Velvet Serpent, which I think is a super cool name if you think about it, just because the combination, right, of the wrapper, being a Corojo, and then of course that Dominican and Nicaraguan, even though you've got like Esteli and Jalapa and stuff from some of that Nicaraguan blend in here, the Dominican cannot be overlooked. And I like that about what Michael does with this. And I think the way he named it was really smart too, because if you think about it, Velvet Serpent makes you think of something smooth and that's something that bites. This cigar makes me think of, right, is a smooth bite. Because like it starts out with those spices, but it's got a nice sweet molasses taste to it. Now it's kind of working into the second here, just beginning, and the spice is already starting to give way to that molasses flavor. And I really like that about it because of the fact that a lot of cigars, boutique cigars, traditionally too, actually any cigar has, whether it's boutique or legacy, sometimes they have just one note to them throughout the whole thing. But I really enjoy the cigars that have something in the first third and the second third and on to the last third, and this one definitely does. So I'm very pleased with that. Cool thing I think that Michael's doing at Law Orden. Just a quick thing about a pairing, because I find pairings to be very delightful. I'm a coffee guy. I love coffee. I've always loved coffee. I used to run a small coffee shop, so I think you probably could argue that all cigars go very well with a coffee pairing for the most part, but definitely even from Law Orden themselves, kind of coffee, espresso, morning coffee, espresso goes very well with this cigar. So I think just a safe pairing right off the bat would be, a coffee with this. Now, I want to talk with you about next the construction of this, as you can see. And I think you can tell right off the bat that it's pretty constructed well. It's not too veiny. But one thing I did want to notice is it does have some dents in it. Noticeably that dent up there. It was not me from biting or my mouth. And you can tell that the wrapper is not as straight, which is kind of indicative of the binder and the filler inside. But what I mean straight is, like you could tell kind of through here, it's crumply almost a little bit. But again, look, very straight. The ash is doing very well. The draw on this is pretty good. So, I think overall, the overall construction of this is good. Okay, is it perfect? No. but it's pretty decent. Go ahead and get into the strength and strength match of this. So this definitely sits around medium, and I would say right now at least, you know, it's could probably be a good morning cigar. I'm not feeling it even medium to full because I barely feel it in my chest, but it has good flavor to it, which makes that nice. Like I said, so that's why I like it with a coffee in the morning, maybe early afternoon. So that's a really nice, that's kind of a nice match with this one. So I'd say that definitely medium is right on. All right, so let's stop for a second, talk about price. And I'm actually very excited about the price of this because it is about a $10 to $12 stick. And I love to see boutique brands being able to stick to that price because that's very difficult nowadays to be able to stick to $10 to $12. So that's a really great price on this, to $10 to $12 a stick, which puts it in that area where you could have it multiple times a week, as opposed to something like going for the VSG or an Opus X or something that is, you know, $30, $40, $50, even $20. You know, you're only going to have that once a week or once every couple weeks, maybe once a month. But, you know, you can have a stick that's around $10, $10 to $12, maybe a couple times a week. So I like the price point on that, so good value. So lastly, let's talk about the score for this. I'm gonna give it an 88, and that is because of the flavor. The value is very, I think the value is great. I think the construction, as you know, Michael and Law, you know, and he's working with Law Orden, as they get better with the construction, that's just going to raise the overall value of this thing even more, you know. But I do think the construction does need a little bit of work, but the strength, it's a very good early day cigar. I mean, you could actually probably smoke this at any time, but yeah, I think 88 for this, spot on. And as always, the search continues.